Jesus. Good day, beloved. This is the Remnant Seed Bible Study channel. Welcome. Today's subject is the beast system and the beast and the last 7 years. So let's jump right into this. I'm going to give an outline of what I believe to be the last 7 years, which the reason why I'm using the number 7 is because we're not exactly sure how long this is going to be. And the number 7, when used in Bible prophecy, almost always is representative of a perfect number that only God knows. And so I'm going to do my best to explain what I believe the last 7 years. And here we go. And this is an outline of what I believe to be roughly the last 7 years of this earth age, right before the return of the Lord Jesus Christ. During this time, there will be great tribulation and deception like the world has never seen before. We've always had deception, beloved, but not on a scale of what we're going to see and what we're already seeing right now. Many believe that the one world government or new world order will be the beginning of a utopian society, but it will be just the opposite for us regular folks. It will be part of the Great Tribulation. In my opinion, we've already entered into the beginning stages of the Great Tribulation, and the beast system is being prepared for the entrance of the Antichrist as the false Messiah. And this is 2019 when I wrote this. And here's number 1. A one-world confederacy or a one-world government will nearly be established in the entire world as the beast system under the control of Satan from heaven in his role as the prince and the power of the air. And then this beast system will receive a deadly wound. And only then, can this scenario come into play when the Antichrist will then appear and heal that deadly wound. And I want to go over these verses here. These are what I believe to be applicable to right now, beloved. Isaiah 8:12. And say ye not a confederacy to all them to whom this people shall say a confederacy, neither fear ye their fear, nor be afraid. Now that's pretty graphic right there, beloved, and it explains the time we're living in right now. Many are walking around in fear, completely fear of this virus, which I believe this whole thing to be a massive psyop, and most of what you're seeing on the news and what people are telling you is not really true about what's really going on. All you have to do is look at the comparisons of the past pandemics we've had, and none of them caused the government to shut down or anything like that. But for some reason, this one has. And I believe there is a reason behind it, and they're trying to bring about this new world order, and this is how they're going to accomplish it. All you have to do is, if you go on the CDC website and you look at the flu season for last year, 2019, and this year, 2020, you're going to see that the H1N1 flu, the last time I checked, was over 177,000 people has succumbed to the H1N1 flu. And that's more than COVID-19. And isn't it strange that nobody has mentioned this? Not one of the mainstream media outlets has touched on this subject at all. And they got us all wearing masks because of this COVID-19. And let's move on to Obadiah 1:7. And all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. And they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there's none understanding in him. Now this involves deception, beloved. You can see the deception going on in the world right now. Everything you see there's just no truth in the land right now. We're void of any truth in the entire world right now. Let's move to Revelation 6:2. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. And this describes this is describing the first white horse, which is none other than the Antichrist, with this fake toxon bow on his head, and this crown, a tightly woven chalet, is given unto him. Now let's go to Revelation 13:1. And I stood upon the sound of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Now this is the beast system rising up out of the sea, which are the people, and the 7 heads are 10 dominions, and 10 horns are 10 rulers, and the crowns are representative. The horns are representative of power. Now let's move to number 2. This one world government or beast system will receive a deadly wound. And beloved, I've thought about this a lot, and we don't know if this beast system, this one world government will be by proxy, or if it'll be a literal one world government. Now I look at President Trump, and I see a man who is almost single-handedly destroyed this system that was brought about by certain rulers, individuals that are in our country. They're traitors, and they literally have tried to take this country down from within. And it's almost like Trump has put a stop to it, and it's almost like he's inflicted this deadly wound. But I'm not sure about that, because you could say by proxy we are in a one world government, but I'm not 100% sure of that, so I'll just leave that where it's at. And now, this deadly, number 3, this deadly wound will be healed or repaired. And you've heard this deadly wound mentioned many times, and many people have different thoughts on this. And I'm just sharing mine, beloved. Revelation 13:12. And he exerciseth all power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And let's move to number 4. Then after this, this scenario takes place of this deadly wound being healed. I believe that the two witnesses in Revelation 11 and Zechariah 4 will make their appearance de facto, de jure on the earth. And this explains in Revelation 11:3. And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. Now, this time has been shortened to 5 months, and even 2.5 months. If not, the elect would even be full, beloved. Verse 4, these are the two olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. These are 2 individuals, beloved, not a church, not a group, but these are just 2 individuals that are called the 2 witnesses. In Zechariah 4:11, then answered I and said unto him, what are these 2 olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick and upon the left side thereof? And I answered again and said unto him, what be these 2 2 olive trees which through the golden pipes empty the golden oil out of themselves. And beloved, I believe this oil is symbolic of truth and instructions from the 2 witnesses to God's elect and to all who will take heed and listen to them. Verse 13, and he answered me and said, knowest thou what these be? And I said, no, my Lord. And verse 14, then he said, these be the 2 anointed ones that stand by the Lord of the whole earth. These are 2 individuals, again, beloved, not a church, not a country, not some system. These are 2 individuals. And now here's 5 in this series. Satan and his fallen angels will be cast to the earth, and Satan will come in peacefully and prosperously. He will heal the deadly wound that has almost destroyed the beast system as the false Messiah, the Antichrist. He's going to come in peacefully and prosperously. He's going to promise he's going to fix everything. And then shortly after that, I believe he's going to tell the people that he's going to rapture them out of there. And this is when he's going to claim that the second coming, that he is the real Messiah, and this is the second coming, and it's going to happen once he fixes everything on the earth. And this is a scenario that many people are not prepared for, beloved. And let's move to Revelation 8:1. And then when he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of an half hour. And I believe this is half of the hour of temptation as described in Revelation 3:10. The hour of temptation. Revelation 12:7, and there was a war in heaven, and Michael and his angels fought, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. This goes hand in hand with 2 Thessalonians 2, beloved. He stands in the holy place after he's cast out and claims to be God. And these go hand in hand. And let's go to Daniel 8:24. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. Now, a lot of people claim that this is not actually the Antichrist, but he gives power to somebody else. I believe it's not by his own power, but it's by the power that he has to deceive into thinking people that he's the real Christ. And if he didn't do this, we wouldn't have any power. If he claimed he was Satan, beloved, people would not fall for him. So his power is in his deception to deceive people into thinking he is the real Christ. Otherwise, he would have no power to deceive anybody, beloved. Christians wouldn't follow the devil if he claimed his own power, in his own power. And that makes perfect sense when you look at that in this regard. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper in practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people in a spiritual sense, beloved, by his deception. And through his policy, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. In peace and deception and lies, and I'm the Christ, I'm the real Christ, follow me. He shall also stand up against the Prince of Peace and the Prince of Princes, but he shall be broken without hand, beloved. Our God will destroy him with the brightness of his coming, as in 2 Thessalonians. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that wicked man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. That's how he gets his power, beloved, in his deception to to deceive people into believing he is God. Otherwise, he wouldn't have any power. I mean, he does have power, but there's nobody going to follow him if he claims to be the devil. Luke 10:18, again, here's another witness. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. That was Christ saying this. John 12:31. This is something that most people read right over. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the Prince of Peace be cast out. And this was actually 5 days before the Passover when Christ said this. He was referring to the end times. And this is kind of a benchmark right here, beloved. This is saying that 5 days before the Passover, this is when this old joker is going to be cast out. Then all you have to do is figure out when the Passover is, beloved. And all you have to do for this formula is to wait till the vernal equinox of any year, whichever year it is. If you just wait for the vernal equinox and count 14 days after the vernal equinox, which is almost always April 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, or the 4th, give or take a few days in there, beloved. That's how you count. That's how the Passover is determined in the Old Testament, in Leviticus. It has nothing to do with the full moon, has nothing to do with anything else. In ancient times, they used a sundial for their calendar and to tell the times and the seasons. They didn't use a moon dial. They didn't have a Rolex watch back then, beloved. And today, everybody goes by this lunar calendar that's based on the moon that we have now. It's called the Gregorian calendar. The real calendar, the only accurate calendar, is the solar calendar. And the ancient tribes of Israel, the ancient Hebrews, used a solar sundial, and they were accurate, and just as accurate as it is today. The vernal equinox, I mean, you can, and also the autumnal equinox. There are 2 times of the year that are exact, and all the feast days are started from this vernal equinox. The countdown starts on the first day of the year on the Hebrew religious calendar is Nisan the 1st, and that's the equivalent to our March 21st. But this year it just happened to be on the 19th because we have a leap year this year. It shows you how messed up the Gregorian calendar is. Now let's move on. Now, Revelation 13:13 describes more wonders that he does, and he doeth great wonders, so he make a fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. You know how many people are going to be deceived by this? And at this time, many will be delivered up to the magistrates of the Antichrist for not taking the mark of the beast or the number of his name, or by taking his mark in their hand, or in their head, or in their brain. This means who you work for and who your allegiance is to, beloved. I know I go over that many times, but don't lose sight of that. These are the true saints of God who have kept the word of his patience. They will never worship the devil or do his work for him. Revelation 2:10, fear none of these things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. That's what we have to look forward to, beloved. Mark 13:9, but take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to councils, and in the synagogues you shall be beaten, and ye shall be brought before the rulers and kings for my name's sake, for a testimony against them. And during this time, many Christians will turn against one another because of the great deception of the Antichrist claiming to be the real Christ. Beloved, your own relatives are going to turn you in because they think this joker is the real Christ. And you should be expecting this. This deception is going to be so strong. Mark 13:11. But when they shall lead you and deliver you up, take no thought beforehand what ye shall speak, neither do ye premeditate, but whatsoever ye shall be given you in that hour, that speak ye. For it is not you that speak, but the Holy Spirit. Now the brother shall betray the brother to death, and the father the son, and the children rise up against their parents, and shall cause them to be put to death. And death is one of Satan's names. They're going to be delivered up to death, and they're going to give a testimony for Jesus Christ against death, against Satan. Here's number 6. The 2 witnesses will be killed by Satan in the great arena of the entire world. The entire world is going to see this because Satan is going to have them put to death. But that's going to be his downfall. Revelation 11:9. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain in those days of their prophecy, that it not rain in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues, as oft as they will. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. Now this beast is the Antichrist himself. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. Verse 9. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3.5 days, and it shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put into graves. They're going to just let them lie there out in the open, beloved. They're going to, they're going to have parties and saying, they're dead, they're dead. But they're not dead. And verse 10, and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, make merry, and shall send gifts to one another, because these true prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. Here's number 7. And 7,000 of fallen angels will be destroyed at this time. And these are the ones, they will be here on earth, and God will literally destroy them in front of everybody. Revelation 11:13. In the same hour there was a great earthquake, and 1/10 part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted, and it gave glory to the God of heaven. And number 8. The 2 witnesses will be resurrected after 3.5 days. Revelation 11:11. And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life of God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and a great fear fell upon them which saw them. And this great fear is, in the Greek tongue, is epipetet. It's a paralyzing fear. These people's knees are going to knock together. They're going to be so afraid. Verse 12, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. This will be a glorious time, beloved. Now here's number 9. The 2 witnesses will be killed in front of the entire world. And shortly after this will be when the second coming of Jesus Christ occurs. Come quickly, Lord Jesus. At this time, we will know the day and the hour, beloved. It will be apparent. We will be given plenty of warning about this. Here is 10, the 10th and final one. The prophet Zechariah explains the time in the second coming in chapter 14, and it's also found in 1 Corinthians 15:52. This is the 7th and the final trump, beloved. Don't let anybody tell you any different. The last, the furthest out, the uttermost trump. It's where Paul tells us, in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Zechariah 14:1, behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall be cut off from the city. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof, toward the east and toward the west, and there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yeah, ye shall flee, like as ye fled before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah king of Judah. And the Lord my God shall come, and the saints with thee. This earthquake during the days of Uzziah was a great earthquake, beloved. And verse 6, and it shall come to pass, and in that day the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord, not day or night. But it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be in that city that living water shall go forth from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half toward the hinder sea, in the summer, and in the winter it shall be, and the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day there shall be one Lord, and his name one. Now I want to jump to Matthew 24 for the sake of time, and this is an outline that correlates with the seven seals, and this is the very end. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came unto him to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another, excuse me, that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us when these things shall be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed, let no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And you're going to see rumors of wars, and see that you're not troubled, beloved, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. And these are the beginnings of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another. And many false prophets shall arise, and shall deceive many. And the love, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that endureth till the end, the same shall be saved, beloved. And I'm going to let you read all of these. Just goes all the way. This is Matthew 24. Now let's move to Ezekiel. Now Ezekiel had something to say about the rapture as well, and he called it the flying away to save your soul. And it's found in Ezekiel 13:20. Wherefore, thus saith the Lord, Behold, I am against your pillows, wherewith ye wherewith ye there hunt the souls to make them fly, and I will tear them from your arms, and will let the souls go, even the souls that ye hunt to make them fly. These immutable truths are being sealed in the minds of those who are willing to receive them right now. The Lord is sending his messengers to the world to accomplish this mission, as Revelation 7:3 explains. Only then will the end come to pass. I've repeated many concepts in this scenario, beloved. But I want you to know this when all of this comes to pass, so that you're prepared. When this Antichrist appears, I want you to be prepared for him and to wait. The true patience of the saints is to wait and wait through all of this until the real Christ comes, beloved. And that's the end of this lecture, and much love to you. And we will see you on the next lecture, beloved.